criminal justice, healing, education. Time to awaken the community. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever or however you are currently watching. If you guys don't know by now, I am the host, Holly Sisa, and I'm the host of this lovely podcast that we call Morning Mimosas, where we value healing, justice, and education for the Black and minority communities. Guys, today's episode is going to be an absolute amazing one. We're going to be learning so much, and I'm absolutely impressed by this institute that's going to be coming here and speaking. And I'm excited for these two queens that are going to be speaking today. But before we do that, let's play a commercial before we get this episode started. And as you guys know, these are commercials from our local people here in Colorado.
We all fail, we all struggle, but the difference between staying stuck and moving forward is how you use those experiences. I'm Billy Wayne, and I've poured years of lessons into this book. Lessons about failure, confidence, success, and building the character to keep pushing forward. And now, it's finally here. My book is officially available on Amazon today. Don't wait for someone else to tell you about it. Grab your copy now and start shaping the life you were meant to live.
Once again, huge thank you to both of the participants of the commercial, Mr. Billy Wayne and Miss Devon of Cracked and Brittle. Please support both businesses. Please buy his book and please support her business locally. Guys, you guys know how we do here on Morning Mimosas. Guys, we are going to welcome the guests the best way we know how. So let's go ahead and welcome these two queens from the Colorado Fiscal Institute right now. Welcome, ladies. So glad to have you guys on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us here. We're really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. As you guys know, here on Morning Mimosas, we love our guests first. So before they talk about whatever topic we're talking about, we want to know about them first. So we're going to go ahead and go around the room, and I'm going to let these two queens introduce themselves. Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to kick us off. Hello, everyone. Right. Thanks, Holly, for having us here. My name is Esther Turcios. I'm the Deputy Director at the Colorado Fiscal Institute. Been with the team for about 8.5 years now, and I'll let Shana introduce herself before we talk a little bit more about CFI.
Yeah, I'm Shana McCain, and I'm the Research Manager at the Colorado Fiscal Institute. I've only been there for a year, but I've been in the space of social justice, racial equity work for over 10 years.
I absolutely love that. Now, we're going to get deeper into what the Colorado Fiscal Institute is first, and then we're going to go into the topic of the baby bonds. Now, which one of you ladies wants to go ahead and talk about what the Colorado Fiscal Institute is?
Yeah, happy to kick us off here too. The Colorado Fiscal Institute, we're a policy advocacy nonprofit. We advance people-centered tax budget and economic policies that promote equity and widespread economic prosperity. We've been around for a while, either as a project of another organization, but as a standalone organization since 2012. So really pushing for policies in Colorado that lift people and families in our communities up.
I absolutely love that. And if you guys are able to, can you guys talk about your individual roles that you guys had stated? I know Ms. Shana is the research manager and Ms. Esther, you are the deputy director. Now, what do you guys do both individually there?
Yeah, I've been with the team for quite a bit now, so I've had the great privilege and opportunity to serve in different roles. I actually started off as a fellow, so really got deep-seated into our work and understanding the fundamental and foundational role that taxes and budget play in the health and wealth of our communities. And in this role now of deputy director, I do a little bit more behind the scenes, a lot of making sure that our organization is, financially sound and stable. But I do still have my hand in some of our policy work, which includes our baby bonds work.
Okay. And what about you, Ms. Shana?
Yeah, I manage the research portfolio at Colorado Fiscal Institute. So all the research that we're providing for the community, for our policymakers, just helping the team get that prepared and sent out so that we can help make some change.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for telling us that information. Now let's get into the topic of baby bonds, guys. I know a lot of our viewers were so interested in, knowing what this is. What is a baby bond and how is this going to help the community, especially in the realm of generational wealth?
Yeah, well, baby bonds are a wealth building policy tool where the government sets aside a significant amount of money for children in a public trust shortly after babies are born and invest them in financial vehicles that yield returns over time. And then when those babies become adults, they can use those funds that were invested in their name to obtain wealth building assets. So purchasing a home, using that money to pay for higher education, being able to use that money to contribute to a retirement fund or even starting a small business. So they're a really great policy. They're actually created by economist Derek Hamilton, specifically as a way to close the racial wealth gap. So as we all know here, Black and brown babies have face a lot of barriers to being able to, have access to wealth and build wealth themselves. And so it was created really as a policy tool to bridge the racial wealth gap. But as we all know, anytime you lift from the bottom up, it helps all babies. So it's really an opportunity for kids who don't have that same access to building wealth to starting from some footing on that wealth building opportunity.
I absolutely love that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it's really about kind of correcting the generations of unequal policy and experiences and making sure like communities who've been locked out of wealth building finally get access to it.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. So when this was being created, what obviously what research was put into this? When was this idea thought of? And first and foremost, thank you guys for this idea, if I may say, because this is going to be absolutely amazing. Like, how was this put together? This is amazing.
Yeah, well, we definitely can't take the credit. As I said, the baby bonds, the idea of baby bonds was introduced by economist Derek Hamilton. He's the founder of the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy at the New School in New York. And he has really helped to, push this. And there's like a growing movement for baby bond policies across the nation. For us at CFI and in Colorado, we've been working on a type of wealth building policy in Colorado for some time, since I believe like 2014, trying to restructure what are known as 529 accounts in the state. So these are also investment accounts that family members of a child can put money into the account. They're specifically for to help pay for college, but they provide their IRS type of accounts that you can get tax benefits from. And in doing our research at CFI over the years, we found that those accounts really, the tax benefit really benefited the wealthiest families in Colorado. And so we've been trying to restructure those accounts for years. But really, our goal has always been something like baby bonds. What can we create that's a policy that isn't just to help pay for college, which is a really great, obviously, investment and a wealth building tool, but how can we help set up Colorado babies so that they have access to more than that? And so over the years, that really has transformed into what we're really pushing for now is baby bonds. And we've had we can't, talk about our work without talking about our partners at Soda Soul Sisters. They're a grassroots organization based here in Colorado that really advance Black women and femme and gender expansive folks, economic justice and liberation. And so they've been a longtime partner, and we really came together at this understanding of the importance of advancing racial justice and economic justice, and what that means for Colorado kids, especially Black and brown kids, and really have found a home in working collectively to advance, hopefully, a baby bonds policy in Colorado.
Yeah, and I'll just add to it, we had recently put out a request for proposals to do research on what a baby bonds program, the fiscal feasibility of it in Colorado. So that's underway right now to have, when we have an awesome research team who is currently doing all that fun stuff right now and really giving us options of what do these policy choices look like in Colorado to be able to fund baby bonds so that we can, help close this racial wealth gap that's been rooted in historic disinvestment. How do we then turn to invest in our children?
I absolutely love that. So from what I'm understanding, this is still in the works. So no one's able to actually get a baby bond as of right now, correct?
Well, so it is in the research and for the state, but we do have partners at Gary Venture and Impact Charitable who are doing a baby bonds pilot right now. So we'll learn a little bit more about how that folds out for those kids over the next few years.
Okay. And when this is finally put in place, this will be anyone that will be able to get it, or will there be income requirements to have this bond, or is it going to be like a CD, like a saving? How is it going to be formatted? Is it going to be formatted like a CD? Is it going to be formatted like a savings account? Is it going to be like a life insurance policy where you can borrow it? I just want to, ask these questions for people that, want to know how it's going to be structured.
Yeah, Shana can talk a little bit more about how the research is helping us, will help us to answer a lot of those questions. There are some things that are universal about baby bonds that really helps to make them a really good tool for racial equity. And some of those foundational pieces of baby bonds, they became a lot more popular, just for some context, at the federal level when Senator Cory Booker pushed a bill a few years ago to make universal accounts. So it would have been, had the bill passed, it would have invested $1,000 into every baby born in the United States, and those into a public trust, and they would have yielded returns over time. We know, so the federal government has a lot more flexibility in how they can more easily make those fully universal. So in Colorado, we haven't shaped policy yet. We're hoping that a lot of the research that the research team that we're working with can help us answer, but we do have a wealth building coalition, and where we're having these conversations. The pilot that Shana mentioned that our partners at Gary Community Ventures and Impact Charitable are leading. It's a bit different because it's for youth that they're doing that pilot for, but that's going to yield a lot of learnings. We're also looking at some states that have been able to pass some type of a baby bond legislation. So as right now, Connecticut is the only state that has passed a full baby bonds legislation. And their program is open to kids born through their Medicaid program. So that's one way that we're looking at proxies. So Shana, I'll let you talk a little bit more about how we hope the research helps us answer some of those questions.
Yeah, a lot of, I think using Medicaid enrollment is kind of like a foundation right now for people really looking into how do we fund baby bonds, or how do we choose eligibility for baby bonds programs. So our research team, or the research team that we've contracted to do this fiscal feasibility study, they're looking at different things. So is Medicaid eligibility the best choice, or maybe a TANF eligibility, or do we include CHIP with the Medicaid? Like, how do we create these parameters? So they're going to run like a few different simulations to give us this idea of like, what can we use that will work in Colorado, that will be sustainable in Colorado? And I think that's the big piece, is how can we make this sustainable so it's not like a start and stop project that doesn't, we don't reap the benefits that we're really hoping to see from it. So they're kind of doing all those simulations, all the looking at what the demographics are, how many people that might include within Colorado, to give us a better idea of what that looks like.
Okay. This is absolutely amazing. If you guys are just tuning in, we have these two amazing women from the Colorado Fiscal Institute, and we are speaking about baby bonds for Black and brown babies. And it's an amazing idea, and I can't wait to see it across the 50 states. I'm trying to figure out what else do I have to ask pertaining to these baby bonds. So the idea, so you said that Connecticut has already implemented a little something like that. Is Colorado gonna try to follow what they're doing, or is Colorado gonna do it a different way? So I'm trying to figure out if this is gonna be federal, is it all gonna be done the same, or is it going to be to the discretion of each state?
Yeah, it has to be at the state level. It has to be to some degree at the discretion of each state. I think Connecticut is really a trailblazer in this policy. We're learning a lot from them and how they have shaped their policy. They also, I believe it was last year, they've had their first baby bonds baby born in Connecticut, which is really cool. And that's really awesome. So I think part of what's a little hard and why we're doing starting now to do a lot of education to the community and to policymakers about baby bonds is that it does, to some extent, in addition to all of the research and all the preparation, it does take a little bit of faith, if you will, right, to push a policy that you don't see the impact until 18 years from now. So we're learning a lot from Connecticut. Colorado's a little different. We have, unfortunately, a lot of constitutional restraints on our tax system through things like the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, particularly in Colorado or Tabor, which really is just one of the biggest barriers that we face to being able to fund really good public services and programs like a baby bonds program. And so part of what we're, in addition to, as Shana was sharing, the feasibility study, the fiscal feasibility, is to learn what sustainable sources of funding we have access to in order to fund a baby bonds program. And so, again, if we're going to push a policy, we want to make sure that it's fiscally sustainable as well. So what avenues can we pursue in the state of Colorado with the constraints that we have under Tabor to be able to fund this program adequately and make sure that it's sustainable over the years?
Okay. All right. Ms. Shana, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think Esther pretty much covered it. It really is like finding that revenue source. I think that's the challenge for any state wanting to implement baby bonds or implement any programming these days, is finding those revenue sources. And also like the people who advocate and invest in targeted interventions like baby bonds. So it wouldn't be something that's like every child. It's to close that wealth gap, which just keeps widening.
All righty. Well, ladies, is there anything else that you guys want to say pertaining to the baby bonds, maybe specifically for Colorado, or if there's anything that you guys want to maybe say about the federal levels, especially because, we have people watching all over the country. So is there anything else that you guys may want to add for someone who may want to implement this in their own state?
I'll just say, we started this joint effort with Turcios Sisters, really kicking it off in 2024. And we have done a lot of work to start the Wealth Building Coalition as well. So if anyone is interested in learning more about baby bonds and joining our coalition, we're really hoping that is a space where community and our partners can really come and learn more about this policy. There is also, I just want to uplift the National Baby Bonds Coalition that is being led by the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy, where a lot of states are sharing updates on what's happening around baby bonds in their states or even some localities, and just keeping up to date on what's happening federally. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a federal baby bond legislation that has passed, and actually we're keeping an eye on what's happening federally because the current administration passed what they're trying to push off as a baby bonds policy federally in their budget bill that passed, the really terrible budget bill that passed over the summer, that has the impact of having the opposite effect on baby bonds, right? Actually further widening the racial wealth gap and making investments into children who already have access to wealth or coming from wealthy families. So just want to lift up those two coalitions. The state level one, please reach out to us or Turcios Sisters if you are interested. The National Baby Bonds Coalition to learn more what's happening at the federal level. And then we are hoping, we're excited for whatever comes out of our feasibility study, which is going to wrap up May of next year. So we're excited to share with community once those findings come out.
Yeah. And I'll just add to provide context, because I don't know if we mentioned this, but usually most states have modeled that by the time people receive the baby bonds, it's around 10 to 20,000. So to give a context of what they would be receiving. And I just want to, we're all millennials here, and I think we can resonate with how hard it is to build wealth, whether it's housing costs, student loans, or not even having financial head start to begin with. And we've lived through, multiple recessions, skyrocketing house prices. I mean, I could go on. So I think a lot of people who are resonating with that, this is a great, something great to get involved with, to advocate for, so that at least like the next generation will have it hopefully a little bit better than we did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank both of these queens for coming on Morning Mimosas today. If you guys do want more information, I will make sure to post whatever you guys need about this in the episode details, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Guys, once again, thank you guys for gracing my show, and thank you guys so much for the knowledge that you guys have dropped today. I know that someone somewhere is interested in this, and they're probably going to reach out to you guys to get more information. So I am so grateful for you guys coming on the show today. Guys, this is Morning Mimosas. As you guys know, we value justice, healing, and education for the Black and minority communities. We will see you guys later. You guys have a good weekend.
Thanks so much, Holly.
Thank
you.